At first glance, the bag symbol seen in the wall carvings of an ancient culture may seem ordinary. However, it is noticed that this symbol appears in artifacts from Mesopotamia to Mesoamerica, from Asia and Africa to Europe and North America, and even on islands in the middle of the ocean. So, what are these bags and why have they been depicted over and over again for centuries by cultures thousands of kilometers apart, who have never been in contact with each other and often not even aware of each other's existence? This question has puzzled archaeologists for generations. Recently, an answer has emerged that not only explains what the bags are and why they appear in different cultures, but also changes everything we know about human history. Today we will answer these questions. Enjoy! The first thing we need to understand when talking about bag carvings from ancient times is that they appear not just in a few places or just in one region, but all over the world. Starting in Mesopotamia, bags are seen in the works of the Sumerians, Assyrians, Babylonians, Mitanni, Phoenicians, and ancient Armenians. When we cross the ocean, bags are found in Mesoamerican artifacts predating the Aztecs, Mayans, and Incas, with the Olmec and Toltec empires, and the ancient tribes of Veracruz. In Asia, they appear in the works of the Hindus and the ancient tribes of Indonesia. They were depicted by the Etruscans in Italy, the Hittite Empire, and the ancient considered Bosnians in Mustafmu and Najmur in Turkey, and are even seen at the 12,000-year-old Göbekli Tepe. We could list more, but one thing is clear: bags are everywhere. The question is, why? Why are all these ancient cultures depicting the same thing? Of course, the simplest explanation, and the one usually offered by the least imaginative scientists, are the ordinary explanations with no mystery. Of course, bags in general are a simple object found in every culture, so every culture may have depicted them like the use of a bowl, shovel, or chair. But the bags in the carvings found around the world don't appear to be ordinary, everyday objects. Time and again, they are carved in the hands of gods and as part of mythological events. Since other everyday objects are not often featured in depictions of legendary events, why are bags constantly depicted if they are ordinary items? Don't they look out of place as they take their place in the hands of gods and myths? Also, aside from the fact that bags appear in carvings from different cultures, it is striking that they almost always look like a particular type of bag. Think about it. If every culture uses bags, these bags should come in an almost infinite variety of shapes, sizes, and designs. However, across cultures, the bags found in these carvings look almost identical. Often, they are held with the handle in the palm of the hand and the fingers facing upwards. Think of the other things each culture created and how different they can look. Everything from weapons to tools, pottery to gods, music, and more is so different. To suggest that the bag carvings found in cultures around the world are simply bags doesn't seem like a correct approach. Some believe that there is a deeper meaning behind the bag carvings, that the bags are actually an ancient depiction of the universe. In this theory, the semicircle, which appears to be the handle of the bag, represents the hemisphere of the sky, while the square base below, the body of the bag, represents the earth. This may even have a spiritual connotation in the sense of the union of the elements of material and immaterial existence, the connection between the divine and the earthly. Most of the cultures where bag carvings are found have incredibly detailed artwork, a comprehensive cosmological understanding expressed through structures and developed religious traditions. It doesn't fit with how these cultures represent other things, that they would depict the universe or mythical concepts as a semicircle and a square. On top of that, this theory still doesn't explain why essentially the same bag appears over and over again. All of these cultures should have different ways of expressing the universe. So why do they all use the same simple depiction? To some, these bags don't look like any old bag. They resemble the modern designer bags we see today. Because the bags resemble designer bags in modern times, it has led to a theory that time travelers visited ancient civilizations and the bags were in their hands. Do the bags carved by cultures around the world really hold the secrets of technology? Of course, this theory, like other bag explanations, is in the realm of speculation. But there is another theory. This theory is not based on speculation, but on ancient records, and offers a new story of human history. To understand this theory, we need to take a closer look at the individual bag carvings found in various cultures around the world and focus not on the bags, but on the people holding them. We can start with two examples. First, let's take the ancient Olmec god Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, adopted by many cultures in Central and South America. According to ancient Mesoamerican myths, Quetzalcoatl appeared sometime in the ancient past and became the founder of all ancient Central and South American civilizations, teaching the region's primitive inhabitants advanced knowledge and skills such as agriculture, engineering, law, and religion. On the other hand, look again at the figure standing with bags around the Tree of Life in Assyrian reliefs. First of all, the Tree of Life itself is considered one of the most important motifs in ancient Assyrian art, and in many mythological, religious, and philosophical traditions of the world. It is seen as the source of creation, a connection between the divine and the earthly, and a symbol of knowledge. Upon closer inspection, one notices that the figures are holding something else in their hands: pine cones. For the Assyrians and many cultures, the pine cone is considered a symbolic representation of human enlightenment and spiritual awareness. It is also associated with fertility and eternal life. Indeed, the small pea-sized pineal gland located in the center of our brain, which is seen by many cultures as our biological third eye and the center of the soul, takes its name from the pine cone. Taken together, these two reliefs offer knowledge and enlightenment, creation, and connection with divine beings. Let's not just address these two depictions. Go to India and look at the bag carving at the Hindu Brihadiswarar temple. Who is sitting in front of the bag? It is Shiva, who is considered the supreme god in Hinduism. According to Hindu tradition, Shiva is the first god who creates, protects, and transforms the universe, the creator of everything. If we look at the Indonesian island of Sumba, the bag is seen here in Panji. In Indonesian tradition, Panji is the hero of a series of stories known as the Panji Tales that have influenced Indonesian culture for centuries. In the stories, Panji completes tasks attributed to mythological ancestors. These stories are thought to represent aspects of creation and life, and some symbolize the way to connect with the gods. Returning to Assyrian works, we notice that bags are seen outside of the figures depicted around the Tree of Life. Often, the bags are held by the fish god Oannes, an important figure who exists under different names among Mesopotamian cultures and traditions. According to myths, Oannes appeared sometime in the ancient past and laid the first foundations of civilization by teaching advanced knowledge to primitive Mesopotamians. You may be noticing a trend at this point. It is striking that the bags not only appear in different cultures, but are also seen with figures associated with knowledge and enlightenment, the founding of civilization, and the relationship between gods and humans. This consistent connection must not be a coincidence. Some say this connection is deeper than everyone thinks. In fact, it is the enigmatic author and historian Graham Hancock who puts the pieces of this puzzle together. For Hancock, it all started when he noticed the same bag symbol appearing repeatedly in cultures around the world. His research, almost by chance, led him from the famous Pillar 43 of Göbekli Tepe to the Olmec carving of the feathered serpent Quetzalcoatl to the Mesopotamian depictions of the fish god Oannes. As he began to take a closer look at the ancient story of Oannes, an incredible explanation began to emerge and the mystery began to unravel. According to Mesopotamian myths, Oannes was not just a god, but the leader of a group known as the Seven Sages, or Seven Wise Ones. Hancock noticed that these seven sages were almost always depicted holding the famous bag. By chance, there was a detailed account of the seven sages in the works of the 3rd century Babylonian priest Berossos, and Hancock turned to this work. According to Berossos, the 7 sages came to Mesopotamia at a time when the first people who lived in the region lived unlawfully like the beasts of the field. They brought advanced knowledge to these primitive people. Berossos wrote in his work, "The 7 sages taught them letters and sciences, all kinds of art, taught them to build houses, to erect temples, to compile laws, and explained the principles of geometric knowledge, taught them to distinguish the seeds of the earth, and showed them how to gather fruits. In short, the 7 sages taught them everything that served to humanize mankind." His statements indicate that the 7 sages were not only the first founders of Mesopotamian culture, but also those who built the cradle of civilization that would build the modern world. With this thought, Hancock began to think that the bags these 7 sages constantly carried might be a kind of identifier, like a badge for knowledge bearers. Could they have served to instantly identify who was in and who was not? What could be the purpose of such a brotherhood? Hancock's idea of a brotherhood was further developed with ancient texts about the Mesoamerican god Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. Quetzalcoatl was said to have once brought advanced knowledge and skills to the primitive inhabitants of Mesoamerica, establishing the great civilizations of Central and South America. But delving deeper into the myth, Hancock realized there was more to it than that. In the 16th century, a Spanish missionary named Bernardino de Sahagún explored the traditions of the Aztecs during his travels to the New World. His work provides a first-hand look into Aztec culture, which developed from much older traditions where Quetzalcoatl was first mentioned. Incredibly, de Sahagún's records show that, like Oannes and his 7 sages, Quetzalcoatl did not come alone, but at the head of a brotherhood of sages who brought knowledge and skills to the uncivilized. For Hancock, this clarified his questions about his mysterious brotherhood. In his own words, in Mexico and Mesopotamia, myths and traditions linked to imagery and symbolism have survived, leaving no doubt as to what the purpose was. Simply put, the purpose was to teach, to guide, and to spread the benefits of civilization. The same is implied in the stories of Oannes and Quetzalcoatl, that before a group of sages came and ushered in modern agricultural civilization, and indeed an evolution, humans were primitive, nomadic hunter-gatherers. Interestingly, the oldest place where bag carvings are found is in the first place, where scientists believe the transition from nomadic hunter-gatherer to settled life took place. Göbekli Tepe, with its giant megaliths and intricate carvings, is dated by scientists to between 9,600 and 8,200 BC. This period coincides with the time when the first forms of agriculture emerged. In fact, this is when humanity began to make a sudden and great leap forward. Prior to Göbekli Tepe, modern humans had made only slow and gradual progress for approximately 190,000 years. Then, suddenly, humans invented agriculture, metalworking, writing, trade, and the wheel. The realization that Göbekli Tepe was not just a monument built in a desolate place by nomadic hunter-gatherers, but a settlement, shows that this was the heart of an established civilization. Therefore, Göbekli Tepe can be seen as one of the earliest starting points of humanity's evolution. Hancock proposed that somewhere in the world there was an as yet unknown and unidentified people who sent emissaries around the world to spread what they knew. Is this possible? Elbette tu metnitek birparka halinde veduzen lenmi sekilde asagira bulabilirsinis. At first glance, the bag symbol seen in the wall carvings of an ancient culture may seem ordinary. However, it is noticed that this symbol appears in artifacts from Mesopotamia to Mesoamerica, from Asia and Africa to Europe and North America, and even on islands in the middle of the ocean. So, what are these bags, and why have they been depicted over and over again for centuries by cultures thousands of kilometers apart, who have never been in contact with each other, and often not even aware of each other's existence? This question has puzzled archaeologists for generations. Recently, an answer has emerged that not only explains what the bags are and why they appear in different cultures, but also changes everything we know about human history. Today we will answer these questions. Enjoy! The first thing we need to understand when talking about bag carvings from ancient times is that they appear not just in a few places or just in one region, but all over the world. Starting in Mesopotamia, bags are seen in the works of the Sumerians, Assyrians, Babylonians, Mitanni, Phoenicians, and ancient Armenians. When we cross the ocean, bags are found in